Before we get into talking about what an ED map is, you need to know what an ED is. An enumeration district, ED, is the smallest geographic unit into which Jamaica is divided for the purpose of collecting census and survey data. They are identified by a unique code that indicates the parish and constituency to which they are assigned. Like right here, you see St. Andrew, Northwestern 108. That's the alphanumeric code. For census and survey purposes, the size of an ED is expressed in terms of the number of dwelling units or households it contains. The average size of an urban area ED is approximately 150 dwellings, and in rural areas where dwellings are further apart, the average size is 100 dwellings. The maps contain symbols that will help you to identify where you are. To follow the ED map and understand the written description, it is important that you have a full understanding of important map symbols and features. These tell where to start, which direction to turn, and more specifically, when you have come to the ED boundary and need to make a U-turn. Here are some key symbols and features to pay close attention to. Direction on the paper map is determined by the position of north, which is illustrated on each map by following this symbol. The north arrow on a digital map is represented by a different symbol. Please note also that it is specified as being true north. That is, wherever you turn the map, the north arrow will always point to the North Pole. A census taker's location is represented by a mobile blue circle on the digital map. Within ArcGIS Explorer, which is the application used to display digital maps in the 2022 census, this circle has an arrow which tells the direction of travel depending on the speed taken. Please note that once outside of the frame or the marker is not being shown, the locator should be used. The starting point is shown by a red arrow on the map and corresponds with the start of the written description, while the boundaries of the ED are marked in purple. Here are some other distinguishing features on the map which you should take some time to familiarize yourself with. Please note that some features appear slightly different on maps of different scales. When handling a map, it should be held in such a way that ground features and map features are parallel to each other. In this way, the map will be pointing in the direction of travel, and each time you change direction in the course of travel, you must again turn the map so that the ground features and map features remain in their correct relative positions. Your starting point is indicated by the red arrow right here. The next step is to orient your map in the direction of travel. Remember, you must traverse the ED in a clockwise direction. The north symbol helps with navigation by relating to the features on ground in relation to the descriptions. For example, northwesterly along Cecilia Avenue. The ED boundary is the perimeter or fence around the area. ED boundaries are outlined in purple on an ED map. They generally follow linear features such as rivers and roads. However, in areas where no suitable land feature is available, a property boundary, a wall or fence, or imaginary straight lines are used to complete the ED boundary. Remember, you must stay within your ED boundary and not cross over into another ED. If you cross over into another ED, it is likely to lead to double counting, and you will not be paid for those questionnaires. It will also lead to undercounting in the ED assigned to you. So please, stay within your ED boundary. Your next step is to locate your starting point. Once you have located the starting point, you can begin enumerating in the ED. After you are certain of the location of the ED and its defined boundaries, you must discuss with your supervisor the best way to traverse the ED. Your aim is to completely cover every side of every street, lane, track, and roadway within the entire ED, always looking for structures on the right-hand side of the street. All boundaries of the ED must be followed, including railroad, water, power lines, and non-visible boundaries, because they may contain structures. This is called a continuous path of travel. Remember always, the rule of the right. As you travel clockwise from the starting point, make each possible right turn. When you come to a road, street, or trail, make a right turn and travel that road, mapping or listing structures on the right side. If you travel on a road that comes to a dead end, turn around so you travel in the opposite direction on the same road, still enumerating units on your right. Your path of travel along a street is not influenced or changed if the street is designated as a one-way street for traffic or the street numbers run in the opposite direction. When you reach the ED boundary, make a U-turn and go back down the road you just traveled, looking for structures on the right. This enables you to travel the other side of the road. Be careful that this does not cause you to stray from the ED boundaries. Make U-turns at streets that are intersected both ways, dead ends, or streets that terminate at the ED boundaries. If you encounter a situation where the ED boundaries are not clear, have changed, or no longer exist, call your supervisor for assistance. Look for out-of-the-way buildings. Look for housing units, apartments and housekeeping rooms, upstairs or in the rear of stores, garages, other places of business, improvised living quarters, and houses hidden from the road. To help you locate out-of-the-way or hidden housing units, you should be on the lookout for various clues. For example, lead-in electrical wires, garbage, produce or crates stacked near the road, etc. List each floor separately in multi-story and multi-family structures. In multi-unit structures with housing units on more than one floor, list each floor separately, beginning with the bottom floor. Do not list the units by number if the apartments are numbered. Instead, you should list the apartments based on its location within the complex, proceeding from front to back and or right to left according to the arrangement of the apartments. For example, first floor, right front, right rear, left front, etc. A similar approach should be taken for parcels that have multiple households in low-income communities. List the housing units, dwellings, and households according to their location in that parcel, proceeding from front to back and or right to left. This is an informal community. Informal communities are residential areas where a group of housing units has been constructed on land to which the occupants have no legal claim or where housing units are arranged haphazardly. These are often referred to as capture land. Again, list the housing units, dwellings, and households according to their location in that parcel, proceeding from front to back and or right to left. Remember, 1. Know your ED boundary and stay inside the lines. 2. Find where to start and go in a clockwise direction. 3. Remember the rule of the right and look for out-of-the-way dwellings. You must count everyone in your ED because you count, me count, all of we count.